Hello everybody, it's Fonz here, and welcome to my first ever map rundown or map guide. This is more or less going to be a rundown than the ultimate guide because this map is still new and I don't think anybody actually knows how to play this map yet. Well, I don't think anybody has the perfect way to play this map yet. This is what I've seen so far, and this is going to be mostly my opinions. You can make an argument for playing whatever agent you want, but I'm just going to tell you this is what I think is the more optimal way to play the map. So first things first, a lot of fights happen mid. Now, I think the reason that everyone is hitting mid and trying to take mid is because B is the only site you can really split, like with ease. This is the path you need to take to get into market here, which leads directly to the site. And this is the easiest split on the map, as opposed to, first you have to cross market if you want to split A. Then you have to walk all the way up here and then look left, look right. Hopefully nobody's holding these angles. And then run all the way down here while hoping nobody's peeking this. And now you have to clear all of this. It's just not really the optimal way to hit A. So what a lot of teams are doing is just hitting B like 90% of the time because it's the easiest site to split. Now, if we go to A main here, a lot of teams aren't really hitting A for the same reason that they aren't splitting A. It's once you head up here, there's two directions you need to be looking and clearing at the same time. In the ranked mindset, it's just a little intimidating, so they would just rather not deal with it. I'm honestly trying to think right now, the amount of times I've played Sunset, like the bomb has only been planted like 2 or 3 times a match in my like experience on A. All the gunfights happen mid or B, and that's really about it. However, on the flip side for defense, you can easily hold these choke points with some early aggression if you're on the right character, which is why you'll see in a minute why I have Breach here. This is the comp I would prefer to have in Premier and Ranked. But I'm going to get to all of that in a second here. The last thing I have on here for the general overview is that I think double controller has to be played on this map, and it's because there are too many angles that one controller can't take care of on his own. And just to help you visualize it, just like right off the rip, if you just did solo controller Omen, say we want to split B, all right, smoke there and smoke here. That's it. That's all you're getting. Now your team has to go all the way through mid and you're doing the split, but these people out main don't have smokes here. They don't have smokes here. And if the B main players don't wait for the market players to clear it, then they're going to be exposing themselves to this angle as well. So I think double controller is going to be meta in the Premier and Pro scene. However, in Ranked, it's hard to get one smoke player, so yeah. Once again, this is the comp that I think is the most optimal. It doesn't mean that it is. This is just what I would feel comfortable running myself. These agents down here are other agents that I think can work as well. If you don't see your favorite agent on here, you can probably make them work. I'm just not a big fan of them. Don't take this as, oh, don't play this agent on the map, it's terrible. You can play whoever you want, but just know that some agents are better than others on this map. All right, so we're gonna start off things with Raze. If you guys want to do an A hit, she's gonna be great for bouncing a nade there, clearing the left side. Spawn berry's like right here, so that nade's just gonna land at their feet and it'll allow your teammates to scale up freely. And all they gotta do is really clear this. Same thing goes for the right side here. Clear your spawns right here. So you can just chuck this, get up really fast. You combo this with a breach stun, I don't think anybody's going to be able to contest this right off the rip. Obviously, Boombot's a Boombot. You use that to clear this however you want to. I think she's just really effective for helping the team push up A. And same thing goes for mid. I found this lineup here. I don't know where the spawn barrier is, but if you just come to the side of this wall until you see this little like cross, you just do like a one-step running throw. This will clear this mid like, I don't even know what the hell this is called. What is this? Courtyard? I'll call it pillar. It's not really a pillar, but that's what I'm going to call it. But that nade will be super effective for people trying to fight mid, because what a lot of teams are doing to contest mid, they're like, oh, I'm going to run to the only piece of cover here. Try getting my picks and leave, even though you can't really leave without exposing yourself to a million angles. So this nade just completely eliminates that. It's super simple. There was also another nade lineup that I found. So if you just get close to this wall here and you aim kind of above the second little bar here, you just do a one-step throw again. It'll go right in the market. Once again, comboing this with a breach will basically result in easy kills. You also have a little spot you can blast pack from. I'm not good at blast packing, so I don't know how far you could really get with this. Like, maybe if you have your ultimate here, you can just like land up top and shoot it in the market. I don't really know. I'm not the greatest Raze player. I'm sure there's a lot more things you can do with Raze that I'm not going to be covering here. I'm not a Raze main myself, but the idea for the agents that I pick is the things you can do at the start of the round, because once people start dying after that, you're going to have to improvise, and most of the things that you have planned aren't going to happen. For B main here, Raze isn't going to be the greatest for clearing out this space. However, once you do get up to this choke point, you can boombot here, you can boombot off the wall to clear this corner.
There.
You aim at like the tip of this pillar here, just throw a nade, it'll land in the corner. And obviously, once the smokes are down, you can just satchel out. Now moving on to defense for Raze. Once again, her nade is going to be very helpful for pushing back defenders if they're trying to rush any of the choke points. If you're playing A, you hear them starting to run up A, just bank a nade here. It'll hit most of that. People will probably make it through, so you might want to throw it up a little bit higher. Or you could wait for them to try pushing up here. This would be a perfect spot to nade. If people are heavily pushing mid every single round at the start, you can just chuck a nade down here. Or you can do the exact opposite of what I showed you on attack. Just get right here. I think you want to make sure you don't hit this middle. So you just aim a little bit in between and at the top of the structure here. Do the same throw. It'll land right at the spawn barrier. Or a better one, because they're probably not going to be just sitting at the spawn barrier right at the start of the round, is that you can just do a regular throw. For B-Man, once again, same thing. Get a nade back there. Breach can aftershock all of this, which is going to force people right there. So what you can do then is just chuck a nade there and start pushing up. Then you pretty much have all of B-main. Now the second duelist I have on here is Neon. Neon's going to be doing pretty much the same thing I had Raze doing, except with stuns. So if you want to hit A, do one of these numbers. If you don't want to use your stun, you just want to cut off one line of sight here without using a smoke from one of your controllers, you can just shoot your wall through there. Like that. I don't think people would push through here, but it wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world if they did. So you just got to be aware of that. Or you can do both, actually.
This way. Take this. I'm out of here.
These fast, aggressive plays will only work if you pair it with a Breach. I think Breach is one of the best initiators to help with very fast pushing, because if he stuns this right off the rip, you can just get up there so fast, assuming that this ankle's covered, and kill anybody that's stunned here. They won't really have a way to deal with it unless they get a lucky headshot on you. Now what you can also do with Neon if you're trying to hit mid is that you can throw this wall, and it'll cut off market for a little bit of time, which can allow your players to like quickly get up and try getting an angle on this fight. Another thing too is that you can bank a stun off of this wall, and it'll hit right in front of market there. Lastly, if we want to take it over to B, if we're trying to go for a B hit here, and let's say we're trying to split, but our mid players haven't made it up to market yet, and I don't want to peek this angle, what you can do is you guys make it up to this point. Think that's clear. Say we just want to get to sight here. You can just cut it off like this. Try taking these fights, pair it with a stun.
Watch out. Go, go, go.
It's a nice little touch to just have this wall ability so that if your controllers are occupied or they don't have smokes, you can just quickly do something. On defender side, you're just going to be using your stunts to get aggressive here early. You want to play market, so you want to like take an early fight over here on tiles. Just come out here, just stun, slide, catch people off guard. Same thing on A. You can either stun this immediately at the start of the round, or you can just wait back a little bit, wait for them to push up until they get to this little congested area here. Do a stun like that. Now moving on to the initiators I picked here. Breach, like I was saying, pair it with Raze and Neon. It should be a very easy way to get picks, as well as help your team push up to the site. We come over to A here. We stun this immediately at the start. Nobody's going to be able to push up, and our Neon slash Jet slash Raze slash whoever should be able to get up there with ease. The only thing they have to worry about is right here.
Flash out.
Do something like that. Once they get up to sight, you can flash straight through this if they need it. Like I was talking about before with the Raze grenade here, if you think that they're going to push out behind this little structure, you can just stun it. Anybody there is going to be unable to move, and that grenade is just going to land right on top of them. Now, let's say you don't have a Raze in your rank game and you're playing Breach on this map. This aftershock clears all of this. The only thing you have to worry about is this needs to be smoked. So if you're able to swing this, you can do one of those, and now everybody's going to have to move. Probably pair this with a blind as well. So they're all moving away from that. Blind them. They're all blind. They're going to be out in the open, or they're all going to be running back into here. If your team is splitting mid, and say you're not with the mid players, You can clear pretty much most of market here, depending on where they think the enemies are going to play. I would say usually they're going to be playing behind the little market stand there. You can aftershock it, just to force them to take an even worse fight. You can aftershock the backside, you can aftershock the front side. You do have your stun, you can also stun these players, and you can blind these players as well. The B site here, you can clear this position. Oh, and the other beautiful thing here is that this ult will hit pretty much most of site. I would say probably opt for this ult for the right side of site, because once you use that, the only thing you got to do is just aftershock this, and then the site's clear. But also too, if you're going for a mid push here and you need this cleared, you can also just ult this for your team. Same thing goes for A as well. Almost forgot. On the defense side, I think Breach is going to be very, 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 very useful. If the enemy team wants to rush up A, they're going to be hit by this stun. The only way this stun works is if you have a teammate with you. So you need to get somebody to get some value off of this. You're not going to be able to do it yourself. Another thing too is you can pair this stun with a flash as well. For mid, I don't think Breach is as strong, but however, you can stun most of tiles here. If you have a duelist on your team that I'm assuming probably wants to get some frags and be at top of the leaderboard, be like, hey, I'm gonna stun all of tiles. You should either dash, blast pack, run, whatever into tiles here. They're all gonna be stunned. They'll probably do it too. And for being aggressive towards B early, aftershock, stun, you can blind this too. Obviously tell them when you're about to flash so that they don't peek out and get blinded. But this flash is pretty good for just keeping them back. If you really want to get crazy, you can just ult this at the start of the round. You can ult B main, you can ult pretty much all the mid spawn barriers here, and all of A main as well. Now, the reason I picked Fade for this map is she's just always a good pick to clear out a lot of spaces. You can throw an eye up here, you can throw an eye through this window.
Where are you?
Okay, you can throw an eye through this window. So you don't really need a lineup for this, because as long as they shoot it, you know that they're there. If nobody shoots this, this whole entire area is free pretty much up until, like, you know, obviously until you peek this angle. So you clear that out, jog all the way up here. You're already like 75% of the way to A. Now I would say if you get up to this point, you're probably better off clearing this, just because it's a very narrow area and a lot of people are going to be afraid to peek it. Once all that's clear, you pretty much have sight. Now my favorite thing is going to be having Fade mid. It's like I said before, there's like a bunch of gunfights that happen here at the start of the round. And if you want a really like easy way to spam them and or see if they're pushing up, I think you just do a run throw. Yep, the only place they're going to be able to hide is right here, and this isn't a good spot to be. Another big thing too is the synergy that I built with that team comp. Not only do Breach and Raze go hand in hand, but Fade and Raze go hand in hand too. If you have a Raze grenade coming from there, if you just stand in this corner and move a little bit to the right, it doesn't have to be completely perfect. You just do a regular throw. That'll tether anybody standing behind here. There's just so many ways that you can clear out this pillar here that nobody's going to want to contest, which is going to lead to you basically getting mid for free. Because if you do that a couple rounds, no one's going to want to fight that. So this isn't the most greatest eye in the world, but if the other team is getting aggressive B main here, you do have access to this window. So say you have no control over B main whatsoever. You can just start clearing this out by either throwing an eye close or one deep. And then once again, Fade dogs are very, very good for clearing out space. If you're getting up to B here, you want to clear back sight, just chuck one of those, see if anybody's back there or not. I think on defense, Fade will struggle a bit. I would say Fade's job on this map is just to play retake if possible. I want to see if I can find the lineup here. Do this.
I'll find you.
Yeah, even back here isn't safe from that. It'll see the top of their heads. You're gonna need somebody to cover you here, but the lineup is gonna be, look at this line in the wall, and the tip of the diamond is gonna go on the tooth of the shark.
I'll find you.
As for mid, if you want to help your team get aggressive mid, you can throw a similar eye like I showed you on attack. You just gotta jump throw.
Where are you?
You want to make sure it lands on this lower arch here, because if it goes too high, it might not scan everybody here. As for B, I don't think Fade's going to be as useful, because there's not really a good spot for her to safely throw an eye. She's only going to be useful for throwing like close eyes, just to clear out space fast. So say like we need to get out Boba here, and this is smoked off, just throw in there. Clears left, clears right, lets us peek out. Now, like I said before, there isn't really a controller that can do it all on the map alone. Harbor is the closest one I could find, because you can direct his wall whatever way you need. The hell? That kind of scared me. Something I found out that you could do, and I don't know how optimal it is, you need to get up to this point on the map to shoot a wall that covers all of mid, cuts off market, and cuts off this side of sight. And you do this by learning this orb lineup. First thing you want to do is get into this corner. And the way you line this up, you're going to need some level of graphic settings to see this, I think. Just to show you real quick, these are my settings: low, low, medium, low. What I'm lining up is this little line right here with the little boxes that pop up here. And also the 2 diamonds are going to be resting on this little like line here where the bright meets the dark. So put the diamonds on that line and make sure that the plank, that line in the plank here, is covered by the little click boxes there. As you throw this, creates a little one-way here, so anybody comes up here, you can see all their little feats. All this really allows you to do is come up here and shoot this wall.
Poison's off.
So once you shoot this wall, if you guys want to do a B-split, now you guys have this walled, that walled, and this. And the only thing you need to worry about is right here. Now, this takes a lot of time to set up, so I don't think it's the greatest way to do it, but it's just one of the tricky ways that I found to do it. Because the only other way I think you can like do this is if you just straight up like do something like this. You do like a Viper wall like that, and it's not that great of a wall. But this is why I said I don't think this is going to be a solo controller map. So taking B with Viper is going to be a little difficult, but A is going to be pretty easy. If you just line up, if you just stand in this corner and shoot a wall that hits the corner of this box on site here, I think this is a pretty decent wall. Obviously, you have your teammates clear this, they're going up on the site, top wall, cuts off this, and cuts off backside as well. They can't see over this wall too, just in case anybody was wondering. The only way that they can see over this is if they come up on the box. As for the defense side, on the one pro match that was played, they did have this wall that was their default wall. The only thing I don't like about this wall is that it cuts off this angle, which you can be using to hold right here. Because if the mid players need a smoke, you gotta cut this off. At least that's the wall I think they were using. The only other difference I was thinking would probably be instead of standing here, they just came up a little bit. Like, it's an okay wall for mid. It's obviously just going to be the standard one, but there's nothing really too special about it. It's like if you need a mid smoke for a little bit, this is your wall. And then for your orb, you can just throw it wherever you want. You can toss it here, you can toss it there. If you throw this wall down, you can come over to B, throw your orb here. But that's pretty much it for Viper. Now for the other controllers, there's nothing too special for them on attack. The whole purpose of the second controller on attack is to fill in the gaps that Viper cannot fill herself. For example, if we did happen to do that mid wall I showed you, I would want Omen smoking here so that we can easily get on site. And if Viper throws any other sort of wall on mid, and say we're hitting A, say Viper didn't throw the wall from here across, then you can just smoke it yourself. Smoke here, smoke that, and you're good to go. I think Omen is going to be the better second controller on this map, simply for his ability to blind people off of these parts of the map at the start, or when you get further up onto site here. So you guys are trying to push A, can blind here, anybody standing on site. So you guys are doing a B split, and there's market players that you need to push back, and a blind right through here. You guys are hitting B and market's not cleared and you just need to get across. You can send a smoke, TP out. Obviously you want to clear these corners and whatnot. So more of the action for Omen comes on defense, because this is once again trying to push people off of doing any sorts of rushes. So if they're coming towards B, this is a great spot for Omen to play because he can blind here. Anybody pushing mid, he can blind. He can even hit tiles. So if you want to get aggressive towards tiles, send a smoke here, blind there, and have a mid player rush through and try getting a pick. Similar play style on A. Hear them rushing towards A. Send a blind. Every single person trying to push through is now blinded. They can't see anything. Harbor, on the other hand, I think is going to be a better offensive controller, simply due to the fact that he can, change his wall however he needs it. For example, Harbor can solo smoke off B by himself. All you got to do is just guide it. For attack on A, could do this just to take this space, stop somebody from pushing, but I'm not really too sold on it. And if you did need Harbor to wall off site, he would have to do it from mid, otherwise he's going to be cutting off some pretty important angles here. Just be another variation of the Viper wall. Except I think you might be able to curve this one better.
Water rising.
Yeah. Okay, it's a little better. I'd say Harbor's going to struggle on defense simply because his utility isn't that great for defending. It's, yeah, the wall slows people, but it doesn't really slow them to the point where it's like really going to help you, at least in my opinion. Hopefully, if you're playing Harbor on this map, you're going to be paired with another controller, because if you're trying to solo Harbor on this map, wherever you're playing, you're not going to be able to help on the other side of the map. See, I'm playing on A here. My wall can only hit mid. Anybody that needs a smoke on B is not going to get one. If I play all the way towards market, I can smoke off B, and that's really it. I can smoke off mid and a little bit of A, and that's it. Now, the last agent I have on here for smokes is Brimstone. He can easily smoke off entire sites since he does have the ability to place 3 smokes, but once he places them down, obviously you're not getting them back. Brim is still limited to his side of the map. Just like Harbor, he can't smoke all the way
Right here.
over here, but you can get a smoke towards A main if you need it. The only difference I see between Brimstone and Harbor in this situation is that Brim is a better defensive agent simply because he has the ability to stall with his molly. Like, sure, you can put up a wall here as Harbor, but people, if they're like aggressive and they have flashes, they're just gonna go through it. Mollies, on the other hand,
Molly.
people don't like pushing through mollies unless they're like jets and neons just sliding through it, but they're gonna take a lot of damage if they're trying to go through that. You can play Brim on A, you can play him on B. I don't think Brim should be playing top mid though. I don't see him getting any value out of his molly here. So anytime I play Brimstone on any map, I want to play somewhere where I can molly off the main choke point pretty fast.
Molly.
Just be careful though, because this molly, if you place it wrong, they're going to be able to walk through it. So it's best to just have some like little lineups. Like if I want to shoot a molly here, I have to aim at the center of this like tile.
Molly.
Now, lastly are the Sentinels, and to be completely honest with you, I don't think Sentinels are going to be that great on this map, so I'm not going to really go over them in depth. A lot of people are saying Chamber and Cypher are good on this map. Sage was played on the pro match that we saw, and Killjoy was also played. Sage was picked on this map because if nobody's A here, throw a wall here and just leave it, walk away. But if you're a smart player, you know that anytime there's a Sage on the other team, you need to go to where the Sage is and break their wall, because all Sages will do is they'll throw it on this wall, they'll wait for it to harden, nobody shoots it, and they just go help somewhere else on the map. This is why attacking against the Sage sometimes feels like it's impossible. It's because if you don't hit the site with a Sage on it, they're just going to throw up this wall. Oh, nobody's here. And now they're going to go somewhere else and help out the team. And what happens if you do break this wall, this is all they do. Ready? Throw a slow, throw another slow, and I'm all out of utility. I don't really like Sage for that reason. Obviously, there's some goofy stuff you can do. Like you can do this. There's a wall over here. You can do one of these. You can actually see right into the spawn here. But it's all very like gimmicky, because like once you do it once, it's probably not going to work again. Like for Cypher, yeah, you can get early info with that cam. I've seen somebody do that cam in my game, and I started pre-firing all the windows because I knew he was doing it every round. And I don't think Cypher's trips are gonna be that good. I haven't took the time to really find setups, so I could be wrong here. I think Cypher's utility serves him best is when he only has to look one direction to spam where his trips are. And like on A site here, like even if I have trips over here that I want to play off of, I gotta worry about this. And if I do try doing some sort of trip play here, I have to worry about people pushing from my right. You'd be like, okay, well, I can just fight one side. Yeah, that's true, but if they have a fade or a dog agent, you're gonna hit these trips. Maybe I get to kill a couple rounds. They're gonna pick up on where my trips are. I'm gonna start breaking them, and then I'm gonna be pretty much useless. Like, these are the only trips I found for B. And like, I don't think you can do anything else. And like, do very slight variations of these trips. And that's about it. You play further back on site. That's probably the move with Cypher on this map. At least it seems like B would be the only viable spot for Cypher, because he can play back site and a little safer and just control this space. Or he can play inside of market here, do like double trips, and then you can spam through this. But that's really all the use I found for him. Now Chamber, people like Chamber a lot. I personally hate him. I don't think he's really good at all. You know, none of his abilities can help the team, which is the main reason that I don't play him or don't have him on my team comps usually. So yeah, he can peek out here and get away. Well, a jet can do that. I can have a jet swing and TP out. And what a chamber can't do that a jet can do? Dash in. Which is the sole reason why I don't like chamber. He's only really good on defense, but like barely, because it's still like I can have a jet holding up here, take the shot, and jet can dash away. Chamber can TP out. Every time I've ever TP'd on chamber, I just teleport a dead body over there. Yeah, you got a trip, that's cool and all, but you can only go so far away from it before it deactivates. Lastly, too, if you're not hitting your shots with chamber, I think you're pretty much worthless, because if you're going to be taking aggressive fights like this, you need to get kills. And if somebody slides out here, you shoot and you miss and you die, then it's just like, it's just a bad peak. If you're not getting first bloods with chamber, then you're not doing your job. That pretty much sums it up for my thoughts on Sunset. Like I said, this is like a rundown. This isn't an ultimate guide. I'm not going to go through every single agent, because once again, you can make your agent of choice work. I just feel that personally in a team environment, there's some agents that work better together than others on certain maps. So that being said, I'd like to hear what you think about the video, and if you have any other thoughts on Sunset, please feel free to tell me down below in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.